how to scale your business with systems to 6 figures and beyond. If you came across Oprah today and Oprah's like, hey, she liked your product or service, she was super excited about it, then she decides to do her Oprah thingy on you. She decides to tell every single person she knows about your product or service. Then all of a sudden, overnight, you guys have 10 million people visit your website. Would you be able to manage the traffic? Would you be able to manage those numbers? A lot of times people say they want growth, but the thing is, they don't build a system or a business that is ready to be able to help them grow. They just hope and pray that, oh, some way, somehow people will discover me, but they don't realize that in order for you to receive a lot, you need to be able to position yourself so that you can actually receive a lot. If you don't have the right systems in place, what usually happens is you grow and you crash and burn because you are not ready for the growth. So today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 P's for scaling with systems. So today we are talking about scaling with systems. The 3 P's that are essential for scaling with systems are process, personnel, profit. So first, let's talk about process. In the past, the mistake I used to make is anytime I hired people, I'll make the mistake of just bringing them in to say, hey, do XYZ, not realizing that we didn't have the right processes in place. And that's the reason that we're crashing and burning over and over again. We needed to make sure that when the people are coming in, step by step, they know exactly what they are supposed to do and the outcome they should expect within a specific time frame. I always say that if you have a process in place that a 5-year-old cannot even understand what you're doing, your process is too complicated. Make the process so easy that maybe even a 5-year-old, if you brought them to your business, right? It's not legal to hire a 5-year-old, but if you brought them to a business, they should be able to understand what you are doing, how you're doing it, the outcomes you're supposed to get, and the time duration you're supposed to get that outcome. It can be a video tutorial to teach people. It can be a written document to teach people. It doesn't really matter what or how you put it in place. The most important thing is something that is simple, easy to retrieve, that people can follow. So definition is, what is a process? A process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a practical end. Process is something you put in place to help people to achieve a goal. If you go to McDonald's right now, they have a number of teenagers running the whole business. Why is it possible that a place like McDonald's, they have teenagers running it and they're running it very effectively and they're making very good sales? Why? Because they have a specific process in place. Whether it's KFC, McDonald's, they tell them first step. The person who is at the entrance, you say welcome to KFC or welcome to McDonald's. There's a step-by-step process in place. It doesn't matter if you're starting something in a little corner or you have a small team or it's a big business. If you don't have a process in place, it makes it difficult to scale. So here's a brief process that I created to be able to help my team in order for us to scale. The first thing is we create something called a detailed video series that helps each person that comes on board in order to understand exactly what we're doing. There are 7 steps over here. So let me give you an example. Step 1 is you request content from the client via Honeybook. So Honeybook is a CRM we use in order to be able to request content from the clients. 2, saving the content that a client sends you in Dropbox. 3, optimizing the content for SEO with SpyFu. 4, logging into the website design platform. It can be WordPress, it can be Strikingly, it can be Webflow, it can be Squarespace, it can be any platform. You should be able to log in. 5, selecting a website template. So you need to be able to select a template that aligns with the business. 6 is designing the website using the templates. 7, sending a preview of the website design for review via Honeybook. So this is the process for them to be able to go from we have nothing to start the project. Every step that our team members go through, they are able to check the box to say that these are the things they've done. If your business is mainly offline, you can still record videos and upload them to Google Drive or Dropbox to show how tasks are performed. Don't worry about the quality of the video. When you're doing tutorials or training and you want to be able to show them how something is done, don't worry too much about the quality. The most important thing is they can see your personality and they can see exactly what you're talking about. Because if you don't have certain things in place like video tutorials that people inside your business can follow, it makes it very difficult because you hire somebody and the person comes and they just like, what do I do? Where do I start? They might know the business, but they don't know how you perform the business. If you can do training videos that is awesome. If you want to do documentation, that is also awesome. The most important thing is having something in place that people can follow. And there's a platform, I have no affiliation with them. They're called TrainWell. They actually help you to create training manuals for your business. So if you feel like, hey, you want a proper documentation step by step in order to help people onboard them better, you can use platforms like TrainWell in order for you to be able to get proper documentation of the process of how your business operates. And here's the pro tip: automate your business and find ways to be effective while saving time. Create a flow for your workday, tasks, and processes. Establishing a specific framework would help you remain consistent, and it will help you easily improve, add, or change things effectively and easily. So having these documents in place, it helps to be able to have a standard service. There's a whole process in place. People cannot tell the difference when you are there or they are not there, because there's a consistent service delivery based on the processes that have been put in place. Next, I want to talk to you about 2, personnel. Before you hire anybody to be able to come and work in your business, you want to be able to have a process in place, because when you bring the personnel in, what do you expect them to do if you don't have a process in place? The more people you can put together for them to think and do something, the better points of views you get. Sometimes we are probably doing something in the same way for a period of time, and we bring somebody on and they start to ask, why don't you guys use this software? Why are you not doing it this way? Because they previously worked somewhere and they had like this challenge and they found a way to overcome it. Bringing people together is challenging. Anytime you are bringing people together to manage people, there's usually challenges in there. However, it's very, very, very good in the long term. For profit, is good for growth, because if you can bring people together, you guys can achieve more than you operating things by yourself. This is a lesson that it takes a lot to learn, because sometimes when you start out and you're making good revenue, you think that you can do everything by yourself, but sooner or later you get overwhelmed. And you don't necessarily need to be able to say that, hey, I'm going to hire people full time. There are 1099s, contractors that you can bring in to help you to be able to do the work. And one of the things that I learned is this: 100% of a grape versus 25% of a watermelon. Which do you prefer? I want you to drop a comment below. 100% of one grape or 25% of a watermelon. Which will you prefer? I believe that if you are building a team of personnel, whether it's part-time or full-time, you can have 100% of a grape, but it's not going to get you far. Why? Because 100% of a grape is still a grape. It's not big enough. So when people come together, you are able to build something bigger that can be shared amongst others. Rather than you trying to do the work yourself, find other people. And a great place to start, if you're something that you're trying to do like an online business, you want to do like an e-commerce store, or you want to be able to build, let's say, an online business that provides services online like web design, app development, here's how to find your first hire. And this has to be like a part-time person who's coming in to help you. First off, the first person I will hire, a virtual assistant, is very helpful. A virtual assistant is someone who is in a different country who can remotely log in and provide you value. You want to be able to find a virtual assistant. Here are places where you can find a virtual assistant. 1, freelancing websites like Upwork. You can go to Upwork, you can go to Fiverr, you can go to freelancer.com to find yourself a virtual assistant. 2, use social media to be able to find a virtual assistant if you want. Because if you post it on your page, let's say you have a social media page, you say, I'm looking for somebody to manage my business, to do all these things, you are potentially going to find somebody that might be the right candidate. The only thing is, if you're getting them from social media, unless they've been vetted by somebody else who have used them before, you are just in the blind. 3, you can get employee referrals. Get referrals from other people who are employed in the same field and ask them, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Do you know any of your friends who are actually doing something similar to you? 4, you can find virtual staffing agencies. There's a website called Upwork, Fiverr. Most people who do virtual work usually get on this platform. So if you get on there, you can easily find people like that. So virtual staffing agencies are companies that just staff these kind of workers. So you can go to the agencies and tell them, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant, and they will give you a referral, or they'll be able to connect you with somebody who does that. Next is online job boards. There are job boards online like Indeed, Glassdoor, all these different platforms. They can help you find a virtual assistant. When hiring a new team member, it's important to keep in mind a few additional tips. First, clearly define responsibilities and requirements of the position. When we first did the process in place, We didn't actually create the job post. So you want to clearly define the responsibilities and requirements of the position. Let me give you a cheat sheet. In this day and age, rather than you doing this yourself, go to ChatGPT, tell it exactly the job, where it's located, what you're looking to do, and ask it to write you a script. It's going to do that for you. So if you think like, hey, thinking about this, cracking my head to do it's going to be difficult, ask ChatGPT. It's going to help you out. 2, define the pay and benefits. So the person who's going to be working with you, define how much you're going to be paid and their benefits. 3, hire slowly. Don't be in a rush. Sometimes you have a lot of jobs on your hands, a lot of projects on your hands, and you want to bring everybody on, and their auntie and their uncle and their grand, everybody. Hire slowly. It is better to hire slowly than to always bring so many people on and just firing people. Because when other people who are good employees start to see people who are in the organization have let go, it makes them start feeling insecure and they start looking for other opportunities. 4, terminate quickly. If you find a bad nut in your business, just like if you find something bad in your food or your soup, you take it out quick. Don't wait until the person is now talking to other people and giving them the wrong ideas about your business and being negative and abusive to other team members. When you come across someone who is not a good fit for your business, quickly fire them. It doesn't matter how much money they're making your business, quickly fire them. Because what they usually do is they start to contaminate other people and they start to erode the whole culture of the business, or they start to create a culture that would destroy the business in the long term. I remember this quote I heard from Elon Musk, and he said something like, inquire about the biggest challenges potential employees have faced and how they overcame them. This line of questioning will provide you valuable insight into the problem-solving skills, resilience, and character of people. Here's the pro tip. If you plan to build a team, you must first define the culture that you want to be established within the business. Your culture will dictate your employee commitment to the brand and company. Lead with appreciation, provide opportunities for growth, and reward hard work and ethics more than you reward results. What do you do with profits? I remember when I started out and first made the first 6 figures in my business, I wasn't sure what to do because to that point, my business was not reaching a mark. So I remember I called my mother and I asked her, yo, what should I do with this money? Should I buy real estate? Should I do this? And one of the advice she gave to me, because she was a very solid business owner, she told me that I should take the money and reinvest it back in the business, because if the business is generating me this much revenue, it would be good to be able to make sure that I feed the business. And that is what I did. So I took the funds, and I'd recommend that you also do the same. You take the funds you make and you put it back in the business. Now, this is very controversial. Some people say that you should take 100% and put it back in the business. Some people say take 50% and put it back in the business. Some people say take 25. You know where you are and you know what you need to do to get to your next level. What I typically do is 50%. So I typically take 50% of what is being made and put it back into the business. You have to be able to decide how much you want to put back in the business, but it's super important that you don't rob the business by withdrawing everything that the business makes. You want to be able to take some money back and put it back into the business. It's like a plant that you don't give water. It slowly starts to die. Calculate your revenue, calculate your expenses. Based on your profits, you take an amount and put it back in the business. Now, I want to talk to you about something critical. And before I go into this, I'll share something else with you. I want to talk to you about the 3 ways to increase your profits. So if you're going to put money back in the business, what are you going to be doing with the money exactly? One is you can use the money to attract additional clients. So you can use that money to be able to start marketing, whether you want to be doing organic marketing or you want to be able to do pay ads. You want to be able to take that money to market, because marketing is one of the biggest ROIs in your business. If you make money, your logo usually does not matter. Your letterhead usually does not matter. Your business card usually does not matter. The one factor that can have a higher ROI is getting you in front of more people who want your product and your service. You can do marketing, you can do search engine optimization, you can do social media marketing, you can do content marketing, email marketing, word of mouth, you can go to networking meetings. The whole goal is make sure a lot more people know about you and the services that you render to increase the chances of them doing business with you. Next is you can raise the average transaction amount. This is one of the things that scared me. Already, people are like, man, your prices are here. So increasing a price of a product or service that people are like, oh, it's already here, is a battle in the mind. But one of the things I learned is this. every year there's something called inflation, right? Inflation, things go up every year. Every year things go up. If your thing is priced at, let's say, $100 and it's costing you $103 every year, and another year another 3% going up, 3 to 5%, and you don't increase it, your purchasing power in your business will start to go down. What usually used to look like money in your business will not do much because things keep on going up. So what I do in my business now is almost every year there's a 3 to 5% increase, and this 3 to 5% increase helps us to be able to cover some of the costs and some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't even see, like inflation, and hosting has gone up, and domain names have gone up, and SSL and protection and software and all the different things. I'm even hitting the mic. Don't be afraid to raise your prices. When you raise your prices, usually this is what happens. If you have, let's say, 100 clients, right, and you raise your prices up, let's say even 50%, and half of the people go and half stay, the half that now stay are less people for your business to service. So now you can actually give quality service to the few people who are still with you. So don't be afraid to raise your prices. What usually happens is you start finding who your super fans are, the real people who are willing to stick with you no matter what. And now you can actually have better services for them because now you can have more margins to hire more people to do better work for them. The third is encourage repeat purchases. When somebody purchases something from you, figure out how you can get them back to buy something else from you in the future, because somebody who buys from you and has a positive experience usually is more than happy to come back when you have something else to sell. Why do we all buy iPhones? We like the iPhones, we like the touch screens and everything, and Apple tells us there's a new and improved version. What do? We run to the Apple store, we make lines, and we go and buy the iPhone. So you might not have a product like an Apple product, but the whole goal is you can encourage repeat purchases by increasing the value of the current thing. So if your websites didn't have, let's say, SSL, it didn't have some features, you add those features, you make it better, and you resell it. If your outfit, if you're a fashionista and you sell clothes, and most of the clothes didn't come with belts and they didn't come with accessories and certain things, if you add those different things, or maybe delivery service is free, add some value so that you can let other people come back so they can buy from you. Now, in a nutshell, let's recap everything that we've done in the last couple of weeks. I spoke about identify limiting beliefs that are holding you back. D, develop a strategy to move your business forward. E, establish your business the right way. A, advertise your business like an expert. And S, scale with systems. If you put all these 5 things together, IDEAS, you get ideas. So anytime you're wondering how to create a profitable online business and you don't know the steps to follow, just think about IDEAS, ideas. Identify, develop, establish, advertise, and scale. These are the 5 main steps, and each of them have 3 different steps underneath them. And each of the steps that I've mentioned today, I mentioned 3. I mentioned process, personnel, and profits. But if you go to my other videos, you realize that I always mention 3, and they usually start with peace. If you get good information, don't just sit on it and say it's good information. Try it. Try something different, implement it, and see whether it works for you. If you want a free sample of 100 key secrets, you can type in blueprint, one word, and I'll send you a free sample. That's close to about 40 pages. If you want to be able to get the book, it's available on Amazon. My name is Kimbari. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.